If you think you can afford a car because you can afford the monthly payment, you might actually not. Right now, cars are the #1 wealth killer for the average person. Total auto debt just hit $1.68 trillion. Car repossessions are up 43% since 2022, and 30% of new vehicles are now being financed for 6 to 7 years. Because before signing the paperwork, buyers aren't accurately factoring in these 5 major costs. So here are all 5 and exactly how to calculate how much car you can actually afford based on your income. Everyone knows your car loses hundreds to thousands of dollars the moment you drive it off the lot. Yet many of us never consider why that actually matters, because you're not selling that new car right away. But when you are ready to upgrade, your trade-in value is the money you're bringing to the table on your next deal. So the less that car is worth, the less leverage you have, and the more you'll need to finance all over again. But how much does depreciation actually affect your future finances? According to Kelley Blue Book, the average new car loses about 16% of its value in the first year alone. And it doesn't stop there. Over 5 years, that number climbs to 55%. So if you bought a $30,000 car today, it could be worth as little as $13,500 5 years from now. And there is a drastic difference between how much different car brands depreciate. According to CarEdge, Toyotas hold 64.9% of their value after 5 years. Meanwhile, Dodge only holds 38.2%. And fully electric vehicles are the worst of all. On average, they lose 57.2% of their value at the 5-year mark. So before you fall in love with a car, look up its depreciation schedule on CarEdge. That'll show you how much that car will be worth when it's time to sell. And that number needs to be factored into your decision before you even step foot into a dealership. But before you can worry about what that car will be worth down the road, there are costs you have to pay before you even drive it off the lot. When you finance or lease a car, you're not just paying for the car, you're paying for the privilege of buying it. And that comes with 3 fees that show up at signing that you have to pay no matter what. The first fee you should always expect to pay is sales tax, which is calculated as a percentage of the purchase price, but that amount varies from state to state. So pause here and see what your sales tax is. Secondly, you'll have to pay a registration fee, and different states calculate this fee very differently. You'd pay under $100 to register your car in Louisiana, but if you hop over just one state to Mississippi, you'll be paying over $700. So find yours first. And the final fee is a documentation or doc fee, which is what the dealer charges to process your paperwork. Some states like California have a cap on their doc fees, but other states like Florida don't, leading to a whopping $950 average doc fee, which is BS. But those 3 fees are necessary. Everything else is negotiable at best and a scam at worst. Dealers often try to load your contract with extras you never asked for. For example, a VIN etch fee, where all they do is engrave your vehicle identification number onto the glass, or a dealer prep fee, which is essentially a charge for washing the car and taking it off the truck. One real contract I came across showed a $695 VIN etch fee and a $1,295 dealer prep fee on top of everything else. That's almost $2,000 in fees for $0 in value. So if you see line items beyond the 3 standard fees, then push back on every one. You are not obligated to pay for any of them. Just find and add your sales tax, registration fee, and dog fee to the selling price. That's your real out-the-door cost. And once you've driven off that lot, the one-time costs are done. But what comes next has to hit your bank account every single month. Everyone is so focused on what their monthly car payment will be that nobody's focused on what their monthly insurance payment will be. Car insurance isn't a flat rate. It's mainly calculated based on 6 specific factors: your driving record, your age and experience, your credit score, your gender, your location, and the year, make, and model of the car. And that last factor is one that you can actually control before signing. According to Bankrate, the average cost of full coverage car insurance in the US is $2,697 per year or $225 a month. But that number moves dramatically depending on the car you choose. A brand new vehicle will cost significantly more to insure than an older one will. In fact, insurance rates drop by 3.4% for every year your vehicle ages. So the same driver insuring a 2020 Honda Civic versus a brand new 2026 Honda Civic would pay about $550 less per year or $46 less every single month. Over 5 years, that's $2,700 back in your bank account, just by going 6 years older. And by the time buyers get their insurance quote, they've already emotionally decided that they want the car. So when the number comes back higher than expected, they rationalize it instead of reconsidering. I made this mistake myself because at 22 years old, I got a brand new 2024 Honda Accord. I did not consider the insurance cost when negotiating the price because I figured, it's a Honda Accord, how bad can it be? Now keep in mind, I was 22 years old, living in Los Angeles. I'm a man, but I have no car accident history. I currently pay $379 a month just on car insurance. That's more than my monthly payment. So before you commit to any car, get an insurance quote on it first. You can call insurance providers directly from your couch and compare before you even test drive the car. And while insurance is a cost you'll feel from day one, the next one often stays quiet for years, but it always shows up. A brand new car doesn't need maintenance, at least not yet, but the clock starts ticking the moment you drive it off the lot. According to AAA, the average driver spends $792 per year on routine maintenance, or about $66 a month. But that cost is very different depending on the brand you choose. Toyota owners spend an average of $5,950 on maintenance over 10 years, while Land Rover owners spend $19,460. And a $13,510 maintenance gap is the easiest to overlook because you don't feel or see that number stacking up until it's too late. And if you're taking your car to the dealership for every repair, then you're just making your life harder. A study conducted by Brake and Front End found that vehicle repairs cost an average of 34% more at dealerships than at independent repair shops. So not only does your brand choice affect your maintenance cost, but where you service it does too. So before you buy, check the 10-year maintenance cost for any car you're considering on Consumer Reports. After that, use Yelp to find highly rated independent shops in your area instead of just going to the dealership. And for simple maintenance like oil changes and air filter replacements, then YouTube is your best friend. Those 3 habits alone could save you thousands over the life of your car. But unlike maintenance, the last cost isn't unpredictable at all. Out of every cost on this list, fuel feels the most manageable. You get gas when you're close to empty, but nobody actually sits down and calculate what they're spending on gas every year. Which, they should, because that number is bigger than you think. The average person drives roughly 13,662 miles per year. At the current national average of $4.55 per gallon, it's okay, guys, we're okay, it's okay. And at the average fuel economy of 27 miles per gallon for a new car, that works out to about $2,300 a year or $192 every single month. But a truck getting 18 miles per gallon tells a completely different story. At the same price per gallon and at the same annual mileage, that's $3,454 a year in fuel. And the simplest way to bring that number down isn't to drive less, it's to change where you get gas. Costco gas runs anywhere from 19 to 56 cents cheaper per gallon depending on your state. At 13,662 miles per year and 27 miles per gallon, that's roughly 506 gallons of gas. So even at the low end, saving 19 cents per gallon saves you about $96 a year. And at the high end, it's closer to $283. So before you commit to a car, use the fuel cost calculator at calculator.net to see how much that car will actually cost you. And that single calculation could change which car you end up with. Now, let's see how these 5 costs could change your affordability in real life. Let's say you want to buy a brand new 2026 Toyota Corolla LE for $24,514. You finance the car for 4 years and put 20% down, and your interest rate is 6.44%, which brings you to a monthly payment of $464. Now, you've already put $4,900 down towards your down payment, but what other costs do you have to pay today? Let's assume you're a California driver, so your sales tax comes out to $1,777, your dock fee is $85, and your registration is $524. So before you've even driven off the lot, you're already in for $7,288. Once that Band-Aid is ripped off, we now have to factor in every cost outside of your monthly payment. Let's assume you plan on driving this car for only 5 years until you upgrade it. Over the 5 years, you will spend $1,250 on maintenance or $21 a month. Insurance on a new Corolla will run you about $225 per month on average. And if you drive an average of 13,500 miles a year, you're looking at $146 a month on gas given the current average prices. So after your $7,300 due at signing, you're stuck with a $856 transportation cost per month on a $24,000 car. And given the Toyota Corolla's depreciation schedule, you could sell that car for $18,600 after 5 years. But that also means that $5,900 disappears just from owning it. So how much do you actually have to make to afford this car? Because right now, we're just guessing based on emotions, not numbers. There's a common rule of thumb called the 24-10 rule, which states that if you want to comfortably afford a car, you should generally put 20% down and finance for up to 4 years, which we did in the example. After that, your total car expenses should not exceed 10% of your gross monthly income. So based on this criteria, you would have to make, get ready for this, $103,000 a year in California. I know, it's ridiculous. But there is a little workaround to this that I found that lets you comfortably afford this car on a lower salary. Because if we're being real here, the average person making $100,000 a year is not buying a base model Toyota Corolla. This workaround is actually in a similar video about how much rent you can afford based on your income, and you can check that out right here. And if I were you, I would buy used, buy reliable, and get your gas from Costco. Thank you, my friends, for watching, and I will see you next time.